Okay, Akwaba.
Yeah.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to Cape Coast Castle. My name is Justice Papinan Akwa. I'll be your tour guide. Now, the tour will take us about 45 minutes. Your questions and comments are welcome. So, this castle was constructed around 1665 by the British, and it took them more than 100 years before the British came up with something like this. And today, this building is over 350 years plus. This is the third castle the Europeans constructed along the coast of Ghana. So the other ones were Elmina Castle. That was constructed around 1482 by Portugal. And now we have the other one, Christiansborg Castle in Accra, 1661 by Denmark. And this is 1665. Also, I want to talk about castles and forts. Excuse me. I want to talk about castles and forts along the coast of Ghana. It is estimated that West Africa had about 50. And out of that 50, Ghana alone had more than 40. So Ghana had about 90% of all the fort and castles West Africa had. So you wonder why Ghana had that much. We had that much because of gold. Gold attracted the Europeans to this part of the world. Now, before the Europeans arrived, we had the Trans-Sahara trade. So the Trans-Sahara trade was a trade between the West Africans and the Arabs, where items like gold, ivory, and salt was taken away from here across the Sahara Desert to North Africa. And from North Africa, the Arabs of North Africa sold gold to the Europeans. But the Europeans actually knew or realized that the source of the gold was right here in West Africa, not North Africa. So the Portuguese came around 1471, and whatever they deduced or whatever they had about this country was true. They had gold. Henceforth, they called the country the Gold Coast. 1482, they constructed Elmina Castle. Again, one of the reasons behind their coming was also to spread the gospel. But today, I'll tell you something different from the trade and from the gold trade. I'm talking about Cape Coast Castle. It was mainly built for the transatlantic slave trade, not the gold trade. It is really simple. At some point in time in Europe, the demand for gold shifted to the demand for sugar, coffee, rice, cotton, tobacco. But Europe could not produce the raw materials needed. So these raw materials were produced elsewhere in North America, South America, the Caribbean, and the West Indies. You know, working on those farms was very tedious because machines were not invented then. So now, unfortunately, the Europeans themselves were not willing to work there because the work was tedious. They used the native Indians, but the Indians were dying in their numbers. They were escaping. They needed another substitute for the labor. And unfortunately, West Africa, Central Africa was chosen. All because it was said that the African was much stronger and than them. And also the weather that favored the Africans than the Caribbean and the West Indies. And South America, we are on the same tropic. So the weather here is much similar. So that was the genesis of the transatlantic slave. Now, Africans were enticed to supply the Europeans slaves. What I want you to understand is, from day one, this building was constructed as a slave because you could make a lot of money from the slave business. As we go along the tour, I'll tell you the various ways how they got slaves. Because nobody volunteered to get in with before we see the damage, right above it was the Anglican Church, the Church of Then I'll turn off the light. Ladies and gentlemen, the male slave The rooms here are 5. This is the first room. We have 4 extra rooms behind us. And it was estimated that a room can contain about 100 to about 200 people.
Like this room?
Yes. So this room can contain a maximum of about 200 people. One thing you should understand is there was nothing like love, care, or affection for the people they kept in here. They were only treated like goods or merchandise. What they cared was the ships were in, those who were fit or strong enough to survive the journey were taken away from here. And they can spend a maximum days of about 3 months in these dungeons. The whole thing would depend on how early or how late the ships arrived. And in those days, we had nothing like steamer ships or nuclear-powered engines. The journey depended on the winds. So they had to stay and wait for about 3 months. We had to do everything in the dungeons. To toilet, to relate, to eat, and to sleep. We did everything in there. So as a matter of fact, human beings slept on their toilet and urine for centuries. So bear in mind that day in, day out, this place was filled up, this place was empty. We find these gutters on the floor. That was the toilet and urine were brought out. But you need access for how many times toilet and urine run in these gutters if more than 100 were here, and if such conditions here existed for 200 years. So ladies and gentlemen, it got to some point, the floor got covered with all the things they left. So about this height, this room was filled up with toilet, mud, blood, saliva, all that. So we cleared them up around 1974 and found the original floor. And we left this portion for us to see. So this is a mixture, looks like a square. This is a mixture of blood, feces, urine, vomit, everything they left here over the centuries. So bear in mind that we've had nothing like excavation for the rest of the rooms. So we'll walk on top of whatever they left some centuries ago. That was really where they had light and air in the dungeon. It is actually estimated that about 1/3 of them did not survive the conditions in the dungeons. Cholera, or like vomiting and diarrhea, killed many of them here. And here, when you died, your body was removed, your body was thrown into the sea. So language was a big barrier among them. They were brought from different ethnic groups within West Africa. Because as far as from Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, northern part of Ghana, they brought people down south to be sold in the forts and castles along the coast of Ghana. Any questions or comments? Alright, so let's visit the rest of the room.